Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Age of Decadence. And we've got some stuff to investigate in this place. But I really need to spend some of them skill points, because I have a lot of skill points saved up now. So what I'm going to do is, I've got trading, streetwise, persuasion all set up pretty well. I think what I'm going to do is I will try to boost etiquette a little bit, just so it's adept as well. And I will actually go ahead and boost some lore. Get it to journeyman. That'll be that. That way I can maybe start doing a little bit of lore finding, but I doubt that it's going to become a real issue. So what have I got to find next? I've got to find the head of the Merchants Guild, I guess, right now. Gotta figure out where they are. And there's a trader there. Ah, here we go, the commercium. Let's talk to the clerk. Hello, clerk. A bored clerk looks at you with empty eyes. How's business? Slow, says the clerk. The zealots frown upon everything you can make money on. Money lending is the biggest sin, apparently. Not the lending itself, obviously, but charging the interest and collecting collaterals. They want Meru to forbid anyone from engaging in usury, as they call it. A year ago I would have laughed at it, but now, he shrugs. That bad, huh? They're buying what Meru is selling so fast he can't keep up with the demand. What else is a sin? They aren't picky. Whatever rubs them the wrong way is a sin. Just the other day we got a shipment of grain. Before we even had a chance to unload it, one of them shows up and asks what the grain is for, as if it's any of his business. I know better than to argue with them, so I tell them the grain is for the good people of Ganazar and that we'll sell it at cost because we refuse to make money when people are hungry. Obviously, no one knows what our costs are, and we have to make a profit, otherwise what's the point? Still, it's a good line, and you'd think you would buy us some goodwill, right? Wrong. He stares at me for a while and then says that those who sell food to the hungry are no better than vultures and rats. Can you believe this shit? He said the gods won't suffer it, meaning these fuckers won't suffer it, meaning they will come at night and burn our warehouse down. So what did you do? I passed the message on to Athanasius. He blinked and told me to give away the grain in Lowtown. He thinks he can buy their goodwill, but the truth is he can't. He will never be one of them because he isn't dirt poor. All it does is set a bad precedent. Now they will expect us to feed and clothe them because the gods say so. I thought everyone was a believer here. Some people believe or want to believe. Others fake it. We're sort of stuck between the castle where this madness is coming from and Lowtown providing the most fertile soil for it. Adapt or die, as they say. Yeah, indeed. What they should do is just leave. Pack up, leave. Let these guys fend for themselves. Alright. So, what do we got in here? Anybody important? Nope. Gotta go upstairs. Alright. Let's talk to Athanasius. Born into an impoverished noble family, Athanasius was destined to support his older brother who, by virtue of being the firstborn, was entitled to but little the family had. His siblings were expected to labor day and night to secure his future, in hopes of being rewarded when that day finally could come. Athanasius, a charismatic and clever youth, decided to secure his own future instead and took a job as a scribe in the castle, expecting to make a meteoric rise. Unfortunately, he discovered that the court was full of hopeful, charismatic and clever boys, fighting for the very few positions of any value that were generally held by men who had no intentions to vacate them anywhere in the near future. After 10 years of learning the trade of scheming and plotting, Athanasius decided that he had enough and did the unthinkable for a noble born. He joined the guild of merchants that where his talents were needed and appreciated. Guildmaster? Ah, Master RPG Crawler, it's an honor to meet you. I must admit that the way you've handled the guild's business in Matoran does deserve the highest praise. And if memory serves me right, you did quite well in Terran, too. So much talent in one so young. Rest assured that we'll put it to good use. What do you want me to do? A year ago, Lord Meru renounced his lordship and proclaimed himself the first acolyte of some new creed. Of course, regardless of what he wishes to call himself, first consul or first acolyte, he still runs the town, although the latter title is more unusual. Now, House Crassus has more of its fair share of, shall we say, unusual personalities, so it's hardly a cause for concern at the time. Then he started speaking to the masses as if he were nothing but a common preacher. He brought this ridiculous profit and surrounded himself with people of very questionable character. That's when I suggested errings on the side of caution and arranging a suitable accident. Sadly, my advice was ignored, and now it's too late. Meru's creed took roots and spread like weeds. Killing him now will only make him a martyr and strengthen the creed. What can we do then? If you can't beat them, join them, says Athanasius, as if stating the obvious. It has occurred to me that in the right hands this creed could be a powerful weapon. And the best part is that anyone can control it, which is unprecedented. By renouncing his lordship and claiming that we're all brothers, Meru opened the door to new possibilities. It was a mistake, and if you're half as good as I'm told, we'll make him regret it in no time. So what do we want me to do? Come now, RPG Crawler. You of all people should know how much one can do with mere words. You have the gift. Use it. The town is full of zealots, and they're eager to talk to anyone who listens. Prove yourself worthy, and they'll gladly take you to their first acolyte. Gain his trust. Surprise him with the depth of your devotion. Make yourself indispensable. All right. What rumors? They said he found something in the depths of his castle that made him a believer. What could he possibly find there? Castle Ganazar is old. It sits on top of a large hill the town's built around, and apparently the castle's lower levels go very deep and house very strange things. Now it's House Crassus we're talking about here. Strange should have been their motto. They were involved in just about everything arcane. Every story we tell our children that has magic in it has House Crassus in it. It has become the symbol of ancient magics. So it's entirely possible that Meru saw something you don't see every day and jumped to the wrong conclusions. Whatever it is, we need to know. You mentioned a prophet? A fellow who calls himself a Nebupolisar. He claims to be a living conduit between Meru and the divine plane, sent here to guide him. Apparently he can set people on fire, speak with the voice of thunder, and other theatrics. You don't believe it? I most certainly do. Too many trustworthy people have witnessed these miracles, but speaking with a thunder's voice can hardly be considered a proof of divine origins or purpose. Talk to him if you get a chance, will you? You mentioned other people? Phelan, says Athanasius with a strange expression on his face. Phelan the thrice-blessed, he calls himself. Meru's high magus. A magus? Magus or not, he can do things that no man can or should be able to do. The guards wanted to kill him, but Meru interfered and saved him. Be careful around him. All right. Sounds like we have a serious bit of plotting in a dangerous place. Let's see what we can do. Well, I've still got other things to do. I've got to explore these ruins. I've got to find Esdras. I've got to find Esdras about the armor. Good luck finding this, though. There's a barred door. There's a temple of some sort. I feel like Esdras is going to be somewhere out of the way. I have no idea where this fellow could be. Alright. Well, he's probably not in the inn. There's a healer. Alright. Berengarius Gems. What do we got over here? Got a door we can open. You know, I love the atmosphere of this game. There's a philosopher. Alright, there's a guard, and there is Berengarius. Welcome to my store, says a soft-spoken man wearing a turban. If you're looking for gemstones, you've come to the right place. I'm Berengarius, an appraiser and a jeweler. You notice that there are 2 guards in the store. A necessary measure, explains the storekeeper. Are you with the commercial? I used to work for them, yes, but things are different now. Did the zealots bother you? They bother everyone, so now I pay the guards. No matter how you look at it, it's still a better deal. Browse the wares. Okay. Yeah, I don't need this. So let's go this way. Let me talk to this philosopher. You see a street philosopher turned preacher attempting to educate his flock on the subject of gods and demons. Fortunately, you missed most of the sermon. If the gods were all-powerful, why did they battle the demons for years, laying waste to cities and countryside alike? Asked the preacher, raising his voice dramatically. Why couldn't they destroy them outright? Keep listening. Because the gods and demons are 2 sides of the same divine coin, said the preacher, proudly presenting his theory and triumphantly glancing around. The accursed Centauri had reached into the void and brought forth those who dwell in eternal darkness, and their number was 4. 4 is the symbol of chaos, of separation, of dispersal into 4 directions. It is a symbol of banishment. What chance did mankind stand against these lords of chaos? None. We would have been killed or enslaved, cast into eternal darkness, but the gods would have none of it. They came to our aid, and their number was 3. 3 is the holiest of numbers, for it symbolizes life, birth, life, and death, body, mind, and spirit, creation, destruction, and preservation. It symbolizes unity, for the 3 gods united were infinitely more powerful than the 4 demons whose numbers symbolizes separation. Thus, in the end, each demon stood alone, and that was their downfall. You said that the gods and demons were 2 sides of the same coin? What did you mean by that? Their origin was the same, and their number was 7, the number of the universe and the symbol of completeness. There are 7 days in a week, 7 rays of the sun, 7 pillars of wisdom, and 7 musical notes. 7 divine beings representing the trinity of all things and the 4 elements. Clearly, you know your numbers. What do you know about the gods and demons that isn't common knowledge? I know a plenty, says the philosopher defensively, but my knowledge isn't for the likes of you. What do you know about the one called Balzar? Balzaroth? According to the stories, he is the chief of the demons. What makes him chief? The demons were divided and represented in different directions. Well, the numbers say one thing, the stories another, but the numerology is the exact science, whereas stories are nothing more than hearsay, so believe what you will. What about the artificer? He was the cleverest among the gods. Some say that Baal-Zeroth was the first to enter our realm and the first to rebel against the Magi, challenging the first of the Magi himself. Other stories say that it was the artificer who rebelled against the Baal-Zeroth and brought his downfall. And then you wonder why I don't put much stock in stories. Alright, so what do the numbers tell you? The numbers don't lie, says the philosopher, excited by the prospect of educating you. 3 and 4 don't make 6 or 8, so no matter how many times the equation is repeated, they always make 7. The very fact that 7 was split into 3 and 4 tells us that there is a division amongst the gods. 7 can't be split into 2 and 5 because 2 can't resist 5. But 3 and 4? These are strong numbers, plenty of power in them. It was the 3 that split from the 7, not the other way around. Why did they split? The numbers are silent on the motives. The story don't say much on this topic either. All we know is that the 3 who did split served the old empire and were strong enough to defeat the 4, only to disappear after. Can you imagine a coin with only one side, brother? 2 sides, same coin. Okay, if you say so. This door is barred, but I'll talk to the mercenary. That's close enough, says one of the guards. What do you want? I was just curious who lives here. Touched in the head, are you, boy? Get out of here. Okay. Well then, I'm not walking my way in there. There's a blind man here. You see a blind man sitting on a bench. He appears to be oblivious to everything, simply enjoying the warm day. Beautiful day, isn't it? Said the blind, turning his head in your direction when you approach. First time in Ganazar? How can you tell? Who else would approach a blind man to ask for directions? The locals leave you alone? I'm an analyst. Was an analyst, sighs the man, before I lost my sight. Fortunately, I don't have to earn my meals telling stories in taverns, so I just sit outside and enjoy the warm breeze. I didn't have time for such things before, but now I have all the time in the world. What do you work on before you lost your sight? I tried to trace the history of the House Crassus, which proved to be a daunting task. They say the old empire had 3 pillars, and House Crassus was one of them. None of the other houses can claim this honor. What do you know about do you know the house's origins? I know what the stories say, which is as good as it gets these days. Of course, most of these stories come from House Crassus's archives, so make of that what you will. So what do they say? They say that House Crassus was founded by Gaius Valerius Crassus, a military tribune with consular powers and unparalleled vision. It was him who turned the Magi into a powerful order, and it was that order that turned an upstart kingdom into a mighty empire. So this Crassus character created the Magi and the old empire? I told you the source of the story, says the blind analyst, looking annoyed. I wouldn't be surprised if the stories claim that Crassus created the sun and moon, too. Still, the story isn't as outrageous as you might think, but if you have better things to do... Alright, go on. Of course the Magi were there long before Lord Crassus set his gaze upon them, but akin to today's lore masters, they worked alone, serving kings and city-states as viziers and protectors. They wielded power, of course, but it was limited, for each man hoarded his secrets and took them to his grave. With me so far? What were they? The stories tell that the Magi were all things: engineers, astronomers, thaumaturgists, mathematicians, and practitioners of the esoteric arts. They were men of science. One day, Crassus was summoned before the king. Seeing that a man in front of him was destined for great things, as the story claims, the king gave him 3 legions and charged him with taking a city of evildoers and temple robbers, which had resisted all attempts to take it for many a decade. Crassus marched there without delay, laid siege to the city, and eventually prevailed, but not before losing an entire legion to hellfire conjured by the magus of the city. Unfortunately, the city was never named, because it was razed to the ground, the land salted, and its name stricken from the records. Hellfire? The word's fairly common in the stories, but it often describes completely different things. It's possible that the hellfire Crassus had witnessed was what we call liquid fire. Hellfire mentioned in the Great Wars accounts appears to be something far more important and devastating. So what happened next? Crassus was so impressed with the hellfire demonstration that he had the Magus captured at great cost and made a deal with him. The Magus would work for him, and in exchange Crassus would hand him all magi he would capture in his campaign, as well as their notes and devices. So that's how it all started? Simple enough for me to believe, notes the analyst. When it comes to things that seem simple today, it is easy to look back and wonder why Crassus was the first who did it. Maybe he was the first and maybe he wasn't. Maybe he prevailed where others have failed. Maybe the Magus he captured first was the key to the whole thing. What we do know is that Crassus' campaign lasted for 7 years. He captured many cities and many magi. Not every Magus was taken alive, and not every Magus was of value or willing to submit to the self-proclaimed High Magus. But many magi had embraced the new order. As the Order's power grew, Crassus began to rely more on the Magi than on his own soldiers. Soon he started going after cities that offered neither valuable resources nor riches, but arcane secrets. He could have been king. Maybe, says the analyst, but Crassus was after a different kind of power. He served the king loyally, and in exchange he was given domain over all things arcane. The Order he created was never seen as a threat, but one of the most potent weapons of the old empire. So was the relationship between the House Crassus and the Order of the Magi? The Order was Crassus' responsibility. Since it was too much for one man to oversee, a new house bearing his name was established and entrusted with continuing the work Crassus started. In a sense, House Crassus was built around the Order of Magi, both to protect the Order from its enemies and the Empire from the Order. Someone had to hold the other end of the leash. Quite so, says the analyst, and now if you'll excuse me, I have other matters to contemplate on. Alright. Getting all kinds of lore dump in here. You step into an old, crumbling temple, open to the elements and passers-by, joining a crowd waiting for today's sermon. The preacher, a bearded man with fiery eyes of a true believer and mannerisms of a whoremaster, appears shortly thereafter. He parts the crowd with practiced ease, making his way to the podium. It's humbling to see so many people, says the preacher, his voice smooth and sincere. So let's speak of humility today. I'm asked why Brother Meru has renounced his lordship. What is the significance of this act? Why is it even necessary when we all wholeheartedly accept Brother Meru as our shepherd? It is said, said the preacher, his voice flowing like water, humble yourself in the sight of the gods, and they shall lift you up. They shall lift you up, says the preacher, as if stating something profoundly obvious. Any man who lifts himself up, any man who puts a crown on his head, any man who raises himself above others is putting himself above the gods. For he says that he doesn't need the gods. He says he knows better. That's why the gods left us to our fate, ignorant in their pride, in their arrogance. Our forefathers foretold the gods that they knew better. The gods could have chosen to smite them all, but they didn't. Had they done it, we'd be living in the kingdom of the gods now, but we had to learn this lesson, no matter how painful it's proven to be. The path to the gods' kingdom lies in submission. We must submit to the will of the gods, for this humble act is the very foundation of it. Brother Meru proved it when he renounced his earthly title and removed the crown made of gold, for neither was given to him by the gods. He kneeled in front of the divine and submitted himself to the gods' will, begging to be judged, for no man is above the gods. No man can rule others, because the kingship can only come from the gods. When the gods return, it will be too late to beg for forgiveness and make amends. When the gods return will be judged. The wheat will be separated from the chaff. The false lords and false prophets will be held accountable, but so will those who follow them, out of fear or ignorance. Discard your pride, brothers and sisters. Have faith in the gods. Submit to their will and show them that you're worthy of being admitted into the gods' kingdom. Time is running out. Don't waste even an hour that can be dedicated to earning your salvation. The preacher walks away before you can ask him any questions. You're not supposed to ask preachers questions. That's the whole point of the matter. They preach. And then you obey. Alright, let's continue onward. Kind of figure out where to go next. I'm still looking for my potential connections here. I gotta go up here, don't I? There's no one to talk to up here. Unless it's somebody I missed below. Ah, Brother Marcus. I want to talk to him, but not yet. I have to look for see who is up here. doesn't look like anybody is up here that's worthwhile. Wow, okay. There's no doors to open. What is over here? What? Oh, that's like the airship dock. Okay. And this just heads inside. Let's talk to Brother Marcus, I guess. My door is always open to the faithful, says a nobleman wearing a robe and a turban. The robe is lavishly decorated with golden embroidery and probably worth a small fortune. I am Marcus Sidonius Fabianus, the second acolyte. You can call me Brother Marcus. The second acolyte? Brother Meru is the first acolyte, says the nobleman, his facial expression inviting you to connect the dots. My family is the second in Ganazar, thus the title of the second acolyte is mine without contestation. So you share Brother Meru's beliefs? My family has sworn an oath to serve House Crassus hundreds of years ago. Lord Meru's creed is my creed, says the nobleman proudly. When he fights, I fight. When he kneels, I kneel. Where he goes, I follow. What are the responsibilities of the second acolyte entail? When the gods return to establish their kingdom, Brother Meru will be elevated above all men and granted kingship. As the second acolyte, I will stand a step behind him and assist him in carrying out his duties. It is the highest honor, as the nobleman, as if unsure that you can grasp such an important detail. It makes you think that the gods will make Meru a king. The true kingship comes from heaven, says the nobleman, raising his finger. Much like a lord can't attend to every detail and needs trusted servants to do his will and look after his domain, the gods need men of pure heart and blood, of course, to do their will and administer the kingdom. There is no other way. And blood, eh? What happened to we're all brothers and sisters? We are, so the nobleman gives you a fake smile. But even amongst brothers and sisters, there are those who are born first, whose destiny is to lead and inherit, and those who are born last, whose destiny is to serve the firstborn and follow their lead. So your birth determines your station? The gods determine your station, says the nobleman, saddened by your ignorance. If it's meant to plow soil, one is born to a farmer. Brother Meru has been chosen to herald the gods' return. Do you think he could have done it had he been born a farmer? So those people in Lowtown are misguided, the nobleman says quickly. Their heart's in the right place, of course, but due to their low birth, they aren't equipped to understand the matters of philosophical nature. They speak of freedom but spread chaos. Well, I got a lot to look into. Yeah, I can't get past those people. This is just a dangerous area. There's an alchemist. There's Esdras right there. What can I do for you? Asks a man with a tired, bloated face. Marcus Vala sent me. The man cringes. It's a bad way to do business, but I don't have a choice, do I? What did you find out so far? Not much, shrugs the man. They aren't local, that's for sure. Nobody is going to miss them. They do have the armor, and they're selling it to the highest bidder. A lot of people are interested. Some of those people I'd rather not cross. What do you mean? As I understand it, the plan is to offer them money, then jump them and get the armor for nothing. What can possibly go wrong, eh? It's my problem, not yours. Set up the meet when I tell you to. Okay. I don't have the people for that, so I'm not going to be able to do that. Let's talk to this trader here. You see a zealot arguing with a trader over something. When you approach, the trader gives the zealot several iron ingot and tells him this is all he can spare. The zealot thanks him and walks away. Iron? Your brothers are suffering while you go fat, and yet all you have to offer is some iron? I already gave everything I could spare, the trader protests weakly. Everything? The gods hate a liar, brother. They gave you your fortune and can take it away. What are you going to say when you lose everything? Are you threatening me? Asked the trader, glancing around and looking for a guard. I am warning you, fool. The gods' wrath is swift and terrible, and their servants are many. What do you want? Got any blue steel? The gods won't be satisfied with normal steel. If the gods hear one more word out of your mouth, your stand will burn down tonight and you with it. It's a vision I've just had. The trader sighs again and puts 3 blue steel ingots in front of you. That's all I have. I don't know why I did that, but it was funny. May the gods be with you. I need some crafting schematics. Tell you what. Let's leave. Do I have anything to sell? I got a fair amount of stuff to sell, but no reason to sell it just yet. There's a bazaar trader. What can I do for you? Browse wares. What's he got? Mostly like noble things. There's the Gaznar blacksmith, but I just went to there. Ganazar, rather. So what do I gotta find? I've gotta find some people to stir up trouble. Let's talk to this nobleman. Already did. So what the hell do I do now? I've got to find, well, there's Hector. I don't know who this is. Let's save the game and then talk to him. You see a man in his 50s standing in the street corner. He has a deep-lined face, slightly bulging blue eyes, and an easy confidence which seems out of place in no town. The blessing of the gods upon you, he says in a raspy voice when you approach. And then I just walk away. Street hustler. What's your pleasure, friend? Asks a rat-faced man, mistaking your curiosity for buying interest. Hashish, mushrooms, blue lotus, henbane? I need a guide. I can't leave my corner, but for a few coins I can tell you all you need to know. I'll leave for now. So I've already been through the town. I'm not seeing anybody else to talk to just here. There's a guard outside this house. I think this is the plague. Yeah. Well, let me take a look, see if there's anybody else I need to talk to. Or any place I can, like, enter. Well, there's a zealot I can talk to, but I think I've already talked to this one, haven't I? Don't suffer the unbeliever to live, exclaims a man standing in front of the row of crosses. For he is the enemy of the gods. His very existence is an affront. A breath he draws is an insult, for it pollutes the air of this holy city. His wickedness, he notices you and stops mid-sentence. I haven't seen you before, he says slowly, as if that alone were chargeable offense. Where do you stand on matters of faith? He asks casually, trying to sound indifferent and edging forward like a predator getting ready to pounce. I follow the teachings of Brother Meru. I came to Ganazar to help hear him speak. May the gods watch over you, brother. What is that? A pillar of skulls? Heads of the unbelievers, said the man proudly. This here, he picks a top skull, is Icon. He called the words of Brother Meru ill-invented nonsense. Nonsense, can you believe that? Then he went on, saying it was stuffed with madness, nonsense, and contradictions. Of course, he changed his mind when we nailed him to a cross. He said his circumstances were deplorable, as if that's some kind of excuse. Are there a lot of unbelievers here? Not as many as there used to be, said the man, gesturing to the crosses. But some rot still remains. I can smell it. How long have you been crucifying the unbelievers? Quite a while, says the man with pride. And it all started here in Lowtown. We've been petitioning Brother Meru to do something about the unbelievers for a long time, but to no avail. He probably thought it was too harsh a punishment and hoped his sermons would do the trick. Well, one day we had enough. Some poor bastard had too much wine and started telling us that it was all horseshit. He dared the gods to strike him down where he stood if he was making it up. Guess what? The gods don't need to reach all the way down here to swat him like a fly, not when they have the righteous men like us. So you put him on a cross? Damn right we did, and guess what? Not a word from the city watch. None. So the next night we got 3 more of these bastards, nailed them right to give them plenty of time to think about what they said and shout how sorry they were for the entire city to hear. After a couple of months, you couldn't find an unbeliever even if you looked all day, but like I said, I know some rot is still there. We'll get them. Don't you worry. The guards are staying out of your way then? You could say that, so maybe Brother Meru did hear our prayers after all. What's he like, Brother Meru? He's like a father to us all, gave up his lordship because he knows we're all equal in the gods' eyes, and no man should lord over another. It's not right. When the gods return, they're going to hold a court and ask everyone who broke their laws and raise themselves above their fellow men. Oh yes, there will be a reckoning, you'll see. This is like an incredibly dangerous area. So the only thing you really can do about a zealot place like this is to kind of infiltrate it and then turn it against itself. It's a dangerous gambit, but one that must be undertaken. Can I go here? No, I gotta go around. I gotta go around! Okay. I'm still looking for, like, houses or anything. Alright. Wait. What am I looking at here? Well, there's a door here. Did I already check this place out? No, I did not. Pancratius with a bunch of zealots. Time for a quick save. You see a vigorous old man surrounded by a score of enthralled zealots. He has an overpowering presence and a booming voice that carries like that of a strict but fair parent explaining the ways of the world to his obtuse children. He stops when he sees you and beckons you to approach as if encouraging a shy child. Come join us, brother. I can see that you're haunted by questions nobody can answer. That's why the gods led you here. They want you to find out what you seek and want me to guide you along the way. Should I fail, I'll fail the gods and will have to answer for it. So tell me, what ails your soul? What is the god's nature? You might as well ask us about the nature of the sun, laughs the preacher. His laughter is comforting, as he's clearly laughing with you, finding life's mysteries amusing, not at you. It turns day into night, which is far more important than what it is. Imagine the world without the sun. The world would cast into eternal darkness. Horrifying, isn't it? Yet that's the world we live in, only the darkness covers not our eyes, but hearts and minds. The guards will shine their everlasting light upon us, but only if we let them. I'm not sure what to believe. Ah, says the old man, as if for the easiest thing in the world to explain. Do you believe that the world around you is fair and just? No. Then you believe in a better world, says the preacher, smiling like the proud father at his child's first steps. Now tell me, who's going to give you this world? Is it you? No, for you're just a man, lost and alone. Is it your lord? No, for he's a false lord who claimed a title that wasn't his to claim. The gods? The gods, says the preacher, bowing his head, reciting a prayer. You see, brother, while your mind didn't know what to believe, deep in your heart you knew it all along. A better world, a just world, without false lords, the kingdom of the gods. The false lords. No man should rise himself above other men, for only the gods have dominion over men. A man who proclaims himself a lord is a deceiver who wants to subjugate you and keep you in darkness. You owe him neither obedience nor fealty, for he is the enemy of the gods. That's interesting. Well then, let's take a look. Now, before I wrap up, let's take a look at what we got. We have potential temple. We have more ruins to look at now that I've got some lore. I can deal with Esdras, although it's guarded by mercenaries. And then there's Elias, if I need to find him. Also, I need to talk to Meru and gain his trust. So, what to do next? I think next time I may go out there to explore some more ruins, see if my increased lore or whatever can help me. And then I'll see about going through this city and finding a way to work myself into Meru's trust. But for now, I'm going to wrap it up here. This has been the RPG Crawler with my Let's Play of Age of Decadence. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment if you got any feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content, both tabletop and computer. Until next time, take care and goodbye.